So this is an example of someone who may be hanging out with the righteous people, with the smart people, maybe watching smart content, but they're not truly benefiting.
مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا فلما أضاءت ما حوله ذهب الله بنورهم وتركهم في ظلمات لا يبصرون صم بكم عمي فهم لا يرجعون.
Learning is not growth. This is a very important concept, and I'll tell you how this relates to the verses for today. So obviously these verses are talking about hypocrites. So we started talking about the muttaqeen, then we talked about the disbelievers who are at the final extreme edge of disbelieving, then there's no point of return, and then we started talking about the hypocrites. Now these verses is talking about the hypocrites. Now rather than focusing on such and such person is hypocrites or how hypocrites are, what their end would be, and so on and so forth, our goal from this series is to apply it in our own lives and think about where can I identify some commonalities that I may have, some traits that I may have that I need to be staying away from. So a very common misconception today is that people associate learning with growth. So how does this manifest? When people buy self-help books, they buy courses, they go to webinars, they go to conferences, they go to classes, they spend hours and hours on YouTube, podcasts, this, that, and then they associate that just by me being there, I'm also growing. This is not true. It is the first step, but it's not the last step. You learn, but the intention of learning is not to debate with others. It's not to ridicule others. It's not to sound smart, but it's to act smart. And this is something really, really important. So today's lesson and message would be to think about how much am I spending my time and resources and energy on learning, and how much of that am I taking in my own life and growing myself. So the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses here is, imagine that someone who has light. He has a fire, so the fire gives him or her light and warmth. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the light away because of their own fault. So now they're left with warmth, so they're benefiting from the fire, but they're not able to see. So this is an example of someone who may be hanging out with the righteous people, with the smart people, maybe watching smart content, but they're not truly benefiting. So that's at level 1. And at an extreme level, it may be someone who is doing the right things. He is charitable, he is generous, he is kind, but doesn't have the right intention. He's not doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He or she may be doing it to blend in, to feel good within themselves, but is not doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So example of these people are like who are dumb, deaf, and blind. So Allah has given us these resources, these benefits, these blessings that we are able to see, hear, and benefit from it, but rather we choose to not use it for our own good, and we become people who cannot be returned to goodness.